topic. Our topic
Okay,
of the
fine.
day as we closed, we said cows eat grass.
Yes, they do. They eat grass. In case y'all were confused and wondering what cows eat,
Turns out I was
they eat
confused.
grass. You were confused?
Yeah.
About what they eat?
Stand by.
Okay, I'm standing.
Okay. I'm not kidding. Stand by.
Well, I can't wait.
I was confused. When I said cows eat grass, I was absolutely confused. So here we go.
Okay.
Right?
Well, I'm excited.
We will get there. It is not necessarily true.
It's not that simple?
No, not that simple at all.
Okay.
All right.
Hey, y'all. Put on your boots, grab your headphones, and let's get a little muddy.
As we build a community rooted in the love of dirt roads, whether dust or mud.
Welcome to the Dust or Mud Podcast. Welcome back to the Dust or Mud Podcast, episode 6.
Hey, y'all.
Well, how was your week?
Well, we had a good week.
I know.
A really good week.
Yeah. But before we get into that, let's talk about what we talked about last week and kind
Okay.
of do a little bit of a recap on that.
Yeah, last week was all about the Ozarks and life in the Ozarks. And then we had a current event of farm finances, basically.
Yeah, where we kind of dove into a little bit of our farm finances, which caused us to dig in a little deeper to our farm finances because, I was thinking about it like, well, why wouldn't we know that? Because we seem to just go along day after day, week on week, plugging away, feed the animals, get the food, feed the animals, get the food. And of course, we know our feed bills and we know what we're making, but we had not gone back and kind of looked at what are the real numbers right now. And we kind of spouted off. We're pretty sure that we're losing money on eggs.
Yeah. Yes, I did.
Yeah, So after saying, I think we're losing money on eggs, a couple of our listeners and friends, made some business, gave us some business advice, things to look into and think about, and we did. And
one of those was the concept of leakages.
Oh, yeah,
And
right.
another was the idea that you could potentially distribute some of the costs across multiple enterprises, and that would be a way to not seem like one enterprise was taking it was being hit so hard.
Right. And the question I would ask even now is must each enterprise be profitable?
Right.
I don't think that's a good question.
Right.
So anyway, we looked at the numbers, and as it turned out, we're not losing money on eggs.
No, we're actually not. We're not making money.
I wouldn't say that it's profitable.
No, but we're not losing money. And so with that, as we found that we're not losing money on the eggs, we decided, since so many people like the eggs and since we get so many requests for eggs, and we're not losing money on the eggs, we'll keep doing eggs.
Yes, we are. We're going to keep doing eggs.
Yeah.
So thank you for the recommendations. Keep them coming because, we don't know much. No, we don't know everything, obviously. And we love the debriefing and all of the outside input. So keep those suggestions, comments, and just recommendations coming at us to help us out.
Yeah. And I'd say I missed one other thing last week as well. So I just sort of spouted off that I didn't think we were profitable without really checking into it on the layer side of things. I also forgot, as we were talking about life in the Ozarks and how awesome it is and all of the people and all of the really wonderful aspects of living.
Really, really, really influential part of the Ozarks.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's a good influence, but it's definitely an influence.
I forgot to mention chiggers and ticks.
Y'all, the chiggers and ticks, or sometimes we flip that around and it's tiggers and chicks a lot. Anyway, they're awful. They're just truly awful. And it's hard to go outside and work in any field along any fence line or fence row or weeds of any sort, or high grass for that matter, or short grass. I don't know. It's awful. The chiggers are terrible.
Yeah,
The
short
ticks.
grass is actually okay,
I know
and
it
that's a little
is.
bit of the issue. You know, around the house, we can keep the grass really short, and not really deal with them right here around the house. But when you're trying to grow
Yeah.
grass for things to eat, the idea of keeping it really short just doesn't work.
No.
So we got a lot of chiggers and ticks,
Ooh
and
wee.
we when we first got here, we bought the guineas strictly because we were told if you have ticks, you got to buy guineas. Well, we did buy the guineas, and I can't prove that they
I
didn't
mean, they
help,
might
but
eat ticks,
yeah,
but they didn't make a dent.
no.
I don't think.
Really, mowing is the best
Yeah.
thing, and we're not going to mow down all of the food for the animals. So
Just during this time of year, it's terrible.
yeah.
It's just
So
terrible.
if you see us, you know, as we get deep in thought, if you see us start scratching or something,
like
it's
monkeys.
it's probably
Oh gosh.
probably a chigger bite.
Yes. And we went out the other day. We were looking at a piece of our property that we don't go on a whole lot because it's kind of wooded. And we're thinking about doing some clearing and building some stuff over there. And so we bravely went out. And I'm like, we've been out in the woods already today and we've sprayed down with our bug spray. Let's just go. Regret. That night. Oh my goodness. The itches are intense.
Yeah, so
And I look like I have chicken pox on my legs.
apologies for leaving that bit of life in the Ozarks out.
Yeah.
That's an important part.
Yeah, I think that keeps people out of the Ozarks. That's why there's not the population is so low. It's because of the ticks.
That's right.
And the chiggers.
Nobody come.
No, don't come here. It's terrible. It's terrible. It's buggy. It's really, really buggy. At least in the summer.
Okay, today, topic of the day. As we
Wait,
closed the
farm
episode
update.
last week.
Farm update.
Yeah, but what's the topic? Our topic
Okay,
of the
fine.
day as we closed, we said cows eat grass.
Yes, they do. They eat grass. In case y'all were confused and wondering what cows eat.
Turns out I was
They eat
confused.
grass. You were confused?
Yeah.
About what they eat?
Stand by.
Okay, I'm standing.
Okay. I'm not kidding. Stand by.
Well, I can't wait.
I was confused when I said cows eat grass. I was absolutely confused. So here we go.
Okay.
Right?
Well, I'm excited.
We will get there. It is not necessarily true.
It's not that simple?
No, not that simple at all.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, can we do a farm update?
Please.
Okay. Well, after we talked about our chicken and our eggs and the fact that we weren't sure if we were making money, we decided we weren't losing money. So what did we do? We doubled down.
Buy more chickens.
Buy more chickens. So we have 51, I think it is,
Yeah.
being delivered the last week of September. And the thought there is their chicks and layer chicks take about 20-ish weeks to mature to being able to produce eggs. So what that will do is we will have them small over the winter. They will be big enough to withstand the winter by the time winter really gets here.
Yeah.
But they'll be teenagers through the winter. They'll be fully feathered out. We can grow them out. And then when spring hits, they will be laying eggs. And we got a type that is a prolific egg layer that's on the way. And they will lay anywhere from 285 to 365 eggs a year. So we've got some eggs on the way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that'll set us up as spring markets start back up.
Yeah,
we'll be able to get going with the spring markets.
Yeah, we'll have so many. We'll be offering free eggs.
No, we won't.
Oh no, okay.
You can't be profitable like that.
That's right. You're right. Okay. Well, anyway, we have more chickens on the way. We have more chickens on the way because we figured out, well, we're not losing it, so we probably need more. Right?
Yeah.
And people love farm fresh chicken eggs.
That's right. Well, we have some chickens out there that are 2 years old.
Yes.
And some anywhere between 18 and 24 months is when the chicken layers, the production really starts to drop off.
Yeah.
So from a business perspective, it's time to reduce the flock by those that are 2 years old and older. So we're going to be processing a batch of our layers.
We'll turn them into stew hens and sell them as stew hens for a very reduced rate, but people like them
because they're flavorful.
Yeah, they're very flavorful.
They're not
they're not super
huge.
Meaty.
Yeah,
right.
But they have a lot of flavor. So
right.
We'll be processing the layers that are decreasing in production, and that will really reduce the layer flock, except that we're adding to it. with the new chicks.
Yeah. And that'll be fun.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh yeah.
We have, yeah. Okay, good. And last week was super busy out on the road, burning up the dirt roads and some of the paved roads.
Yeah, could have went dirt all the way, but that's just too hard on the truck.
Yeah, 10 miles of county roads in the Ozarks.
Yeah,
Was it 10 miles?
It was either 15 miles of dirt or 27 miles of a mixture of dirt and paved, but
Yeah.
way less dirt.
Yeah.
It maybe through 4 miles of
Either
dirt.
way, it wasn't, no. So
Yeah.
we went the high road.
Yeah,
Or
went the high road.
the hard road.
Yeah, we did. Went the hard road.
Hauling hay.
We found a local gentleman to buy the hay from in our local community,
Mhm.
and our trailer that we have flatbed hauls 10 4x5 round bales of hay, and so we were prepared for 10 trips to get our 100 bales that we needed to get us through the winter.
And it was like, what, 2 hours at least round trip by the time you went there, got it, loaded it, come back, unload it.
Yeah,
It
I
was
was
about
hoping
2
for
hours.
2. I think it was actually closer to about 3.5. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it ended up taking a bit of time. But anyway, when we showed up, he offered his hay trailer, which instead of
40
10
foot.
bales, hauls 23 bales.
Mm-hmm.
And so we took him up on the offer, and it cut our trips at least in half. The time wasn't necessarily in half, but the number of trips was definitely cut in half. So
Saved on diesel a lot.
yeah, saved a lot on diesel, and that was awesome. And it's part of what we were talking about with the Ozarks and the community, and the family, and just the way that it feels with folks helping each other out.
Yeah.
And it was just hey, I've got a trailer that holds more hay. Would you like to use it? We said sure, and that was it.
Of course, it benefited him too because he didn't have to be hauling. He didn't have to be loading us out.
Yeah, of course.
For multiple days.
Yeah, but it was really cool.
It was very cool
For him to offer that. And
so we have 100 bales,
nice.
Actually 101,
Yeah.
sitting out there and ready for winter. So we're okay.
Yeah.
For another year.
Yeah. Really, it feels really
good. It is expensive.
Good. Yeah.
Hay is very expensive
But
this
it feels
year.
really good to have it in place on farm.
Oh, yeah.
The ability to make it through the winter.
Especially with the shortages and not knowing when a drought's coming and who's got what and, finding it especially local.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the potential, at least, to have multiple years. So
get a partnership going with him so that we can secure it year over year.
That's right.
Because he does make it, or he cuts hay every year and sells it.
So we're really excited about that. And then,
and too, it's from this area.
Yeah.
The grass, the hay itself, which is what our cows eat. When we brought that hay in last year from up north, they didn't care for it as much, and I don't think they did as good on it.
Yep.
So this is what they eat. It's the same type of forage, so it doesn't mess them up as much.
That's right. Absolutely.
Okay.
The other farm update is in the hog department.
The hog department, yes.
So
our pork enterprise.
Yeah. Yesterday we went and picked up 9 new pure Berkshire piglets.
They are beautiful, y'all. They really are.
To join the farm.
Yes.
Same farmer, same breeder that we bought the last one. So the 10 that we have on farm now are from the same breeder.
Mm-hmm.
And both set of these sets came from a really top quality bloodlines. Mm-hmm. And so we are expecting some amazing pork.
Top quality meaning the grandfather of the pigs that we currently have on farm was his offspring. The meat was graded top in the nation for quality of meat.
Yeah.
So we're really excited to have some of that level of quality on the farm.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the best, I think there's got to be the best.
And of the 10 that we have, the big ones that we've been growing since spring,
mm-hmm.
5 are going to the processor towards the end of this month, 5 mid-month next month, and excited to say that Holes and Halves reservations are closed. We've gotten all that we can handle on the Holes and Halves.
Yeah, we do a few. We do part of them, especially this time of year, as Holes and Halves, and people signed up early.
Yeah,
which is good.
Yeah, it's really good.
Super encouraging.
So those are done, and the rest of them will have made into cuts, things that we can sell online, local, farmers markets,
Right.
so that we have meat in our freezer in
Yeah,
order to,
through
to sell through
the
the winter. Yeah.
hmm
So really excited.
Yeah,
Yeah. Hey.
and I can tell you that one's profitable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's good.
Yeah.
We'll talk about pork later.
Yeah.
Good. So we got those. Any other farm updates for you? Oh, wait, yeah. So today, y'all, we moved the cows and the sheep into a new paddock, and lush. Oh my goodness, they're going to be so happy there.
Yeah, we rejoined the Flurd.
Yeah,
if you haven't read the blog or anything, we do a combined flock and herd.
Yeah.
And it was very cosmic when we did it the first time. And we were all a little bit freaked out.
Yeah.
And how are we going to separate them? And now we bring the two together and separate them multiple times, like we just, without even really thinking about it, because each of them come when you call them. And
cows don't come to sheep.
Yeah.
Cows come on cows.
Right.
And sheep come to sheep, and they don't know what come on cows means.
No.
So it's really easy to get them to come wherever it is that we want them to go.
Yeah, so we have the Flurd. If you hear us say the Flurd, that's what that is.
It's our flock herd all together.
Yep.
Well, so we moved them today into a paddock, and the cows had to go a little bit of a ways. Well, calves be calves.
They are crazy.
And they're crazy, and if you've got everybody going in the right direction, they do good. We don't have horses. We don't work them. We do it on foot. And so as we're moving them, we're pretty much calling them like a dog and then sort of pressuring them to go where we want them to go. Well, today they missed the gate that we wanted them to shoot through. And so there was a little bit of a, craziness there for a second. Well, by the time we got them to go through the gate that we intended for them to go through, some went that way. Calves and one of the mama cows.
Yeah, she's a first-time mom.
Yeah.
And her calf decided to go the other direction, and the more experienced moms will stay with the herd and call their calf, and the calf will turn around and go with the herd.
Yeah.
Well, this first-time mom, she didn't do that.
No.
She actually followed the calf.
Yeah.
And so the calf went that way. The first-time mom followed her calf, and then another calf followed her. So we had two calves and one cow that were going just in the opposite direction of the rest of the herd.
Yeah.
And I think they were going to Disney World.
I don't know.
I don't know where they were going.
I don't know why they couldn't just stay with everybody else, but they didn't.
And they were not interested in going with everybody else either.
And they wound up in another pasture, but we got them pushed back down, and the mama, it was pretty easy to get her to go on through the gate where I wanted her to go because she's used to following. But then one of the calves, we got it. Y'all, we lost the other calf. Like, we have a calf out there in the woods right now. Well, we didn't lose it. It's just on the other side of the fence from where the mama is. And a little bit ago, we could hear them all both hollering.
Yeah, we knew that they would find each other.
They'll find each other.
But man, that calf hid, and we could not find it. It was not a big patch of woods either.
No.
It's a small patch of woods.
No, but they can. They disappear.
We couldn't find it.
I mean, we know it's there, and we're just like, you know what? We're just going to leave it, and we'll listen. And whenever the calf, makes itself known again, and mom starts calling it, then we'll rejoin them here in a little bit. Probably when we're finished with this, we'll go out there and let them rejoin. But until then, they can stand on the other side of the gate and holler at each other.
Yeah,
that's what they get.
I don't think they learn.
No, they don't. Their cows they're not. They're not magna cum laudes. That's for sure. In the animal world.
They're not. No. All right. So on the topic of cows eat grass.
Yes, they do.
Well,
ours do.
Ours do eat grass. That is a true statement. And I think had I said that last week, our cows eat grass, it wouldn't be quite as
jarring.
Yeah, jarring, because I just said cows eat grass, like an overarching statement of all cows eat grass. Well, while true, that's not the only thing that they eat.
No.
And this week, we've been doing on the podcast, we've been doing a topic, not the topic of the day, a current event towards the end of the podcast.
But I think we're going to switch it from current event now that I see that he's going to continue with this theme of, let's add something unknown to the mix. More like a did you know? Or what do you think about?
Yeah.
Not really a current event because it might not be an
event. This week I made a did you know?
Okay.
And I switched up the order on you.
Okay.
So I'm bringing the did you know all the way to the front of
Oh,
the topic of the day.
okay. No whammies.
Okay.
Okay, go.
So it's time for the Did You Know?
Okay.
And
No, I didn't.
the Did You Know has to do about what cows eat.
Okay.
And this isn't new. So that's why I can't call it a current event.
No.
So in 2010, and I won't necessarily read the articles until we get needing some details, but in 2010, there was a semi truck overturned on a highway, and it spilled red Skittles everywhere. And there was, a lot of funny talk about the red Skittles.
Only red?
Red Skittles. There was a lot of
Okay.
talk about the red Skittles that were all over the highway, and they didn't have the S on them, so they were obviously like defects or Skittle Coles, I guess.
Okay. Misprint. Skittle Coles.
Right? So...
what do they have against red ones?
Right. Well, it as the story continued, they found out that the Skittles were en route to be fed to cows.
To cows?
Cows.
Skittles.
Right. So the story starts breaking, right? And so from
Candy?
there, yes.
Oh.
Right. So from there, the idea that our cows are fed candy, it really was in the news about 10, 12 years ago. And at that point, we weren't concerned at all. We were in the middle of our Air Force career and not thinking about farming or anything to do with it. And I think that headline...
That's not true.
Not farming.
We had chickens.
Oh. We did have chickens.
And I wanted to get goats.
Yeah. Okay. I stand corrected.
Let me regain my composure here.
Good luck.
Good luck. Well, you have me with cows eating Skittles.
All right. I stand corrected.
Okay.
We were concerned with other things at the time, and we're not. That headline didn't resonate with me, I guess, because I certainly don't remember it.
No.
But at that time,
right.
10 to 12 years ago, it was a headline that cows are being fed candy.
Okay.
And so as I was looking into the details, trying to gather notes and such about our podcast today about cows eating grass, I was shocked at cows actually eating candy. So it's not a current event, but it is an actual thing. And I actually found an article from Cargill, who is, as you know, one of the major beef processors.
Yeah.
And it really talks about how amazing it is, how awesome it is, a sweet move, they call it, how Cargill upcycles Hershey's leftover chocolate into nutritionist-approved feed for cows. And it's a very upbeat article from Cargill about how they have a partnership with Hershey's and how it's good for everybody, to include the cows.
Oh, so instead of corn, they just feed them corn syrup.
Well,
through the candy.
A form of processed corn syrup.
The nutritionists, where did they go to school? I'm just throwing out questions. I don't know.
So there's some truth to what they're saying, right? It is a form of a carbohydrate, and it is a sugar, and the cows have a different stomach than we do, and the intention in feeding the cows is that you feed the bacteria in the cow's stomach, and then the cows actually digest those bacteria. The bacteria are technically what the cows eat, right? Mm-hmm. So their stomach doesn't work exactly like ours.
Not at all, right. Mm-hmm.
There's not 4 stomachs. There's 1 stomach, 4 chambers, and big, huge fermentation vats where the bacteria grow.
And they need sugar.
They need the sugars. And so from a nutritionist perspective, they believe at least that that form of sugar is fine for the cows. So as I dug deeper, here comes some more of the did you know.
Can I also say something else?
Please.
Hey, you did this.
Please. Say something else.
So, I never heard. That's one of those things that I didn't know existed.
What?
Leftover chocolate.
Right? I don't think Miss Krista has ever seen a piece of leftover chocolate.
Leftover chocolate. Enough to feed cows.
Yeah.
Huh?
Semi-trucks.
They eat a lot.
Semi-trucks.
Semi-trucks of
Tons.
leftover old chocolate.
Well, it doesn't necessarily say
Oh, it doesn't
old.
say it's old. Just chocolate.
Yeah.
Huh.
Right.
I didn't know. That's an anomaly.
Right. So here comes more. There's more. So as I dug deeper into cows eat grass, what I found was the FDA regulates what cattle cannot eat, not what they can eat.
Oh.
Okay?
Okay.
So examples of what they cannot eat. Now this is FDA, from the FDA.
Okay.
They cannot eat meat and meat byproducts from cows
That's good.
and other mammals or dehydrated garbage.
It's good.
That we have an FDA. Hey, it's a good thing.
The FDA or USDA?
FDA
FDA.
says that cows cannot eat dehydrated garbage. Correct.
Okay.
On the list of things that cows can eat because they're not regulated away from eating. So as you start talking about they cannot eat meat and meat byproducts, what are those? So as you get into the eaches and the details of what all of the things are, what ends up spitting out is things that they can eat.
Okay.
So examples of what they can eat.
Yes.
Blood products, milk products, pig and horse meat, protein from fish and poultry, feather meal, meat and bone meal. They can eat. Other examples of what they can eat: bagels, bread waste, candy, candy product blends, cereal byproducts, chocolate, donuts, fruit twists, and Kool-Aid drink.
Wait, they got what do you call those things? Fruit twists.
Fruit roll-ups.
Oh, fruit roll-ups, those.
Fruit twists.
I was thinking of the other ones that are like the red licorice.
Oh, maybe they are.
What are those called?
Twizzlers.
Twizzlers.
Man,
Yeah, I don't eat a lot of candy, obviously.
You're right. It's Twizzlers. Fruit
Oh,
twists.
yeah. They can eat Twizzlers, but they don't want to name it. Ah, my God.
Well, they did name
Wait a minute.
Kool-Aid drink mix by name.
Kool-Aid. So, okay. So we feed some of our animals grains, and our local non-GMO mill, what is their motto?
We are what they eat.
Huh. I'm just throwing that out there.
I didn't consider that as I was reading through this, but you're absolutely right.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So that's why I sort of
Okay.
chuckled a bit at the beginning of this
Maybe
when
they are happy cows. They're drugged.
I took us back to my statement about cows eat grass.
Oh yeah. No. So this is all in a confinement situation. Farmers aren't out there getting Kool-Aid. I don't think to feed their kids.
Sprinkle it in the trough.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know I'm just kind of making light, but it's a serious situation.
Yeah. So what it is a cheap way to get whatever that nutrient happens to be into the cows. Sugar, protein, in the blood and bone meal is all about the different proteins and calciums and that type of stuff.
Right. Yeah.
And then the candies
I get that kind of stuff.
Sugars.
Adding nutrition to their, like if they're compressing it or something into
Yeah,
the feed, or are they just dumping it?
Yeah,
I don't know.
It is mixed into the feed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing for me, and we'll get more into it as we talk through what we do here on our farm. But
Yeah.
the thing for me is cows, like, they're not supposed to drink Kool-Aid and eat chocolate.
No, I don't think they are.
That is not a cow's diet.
No.
It's just not.
No. I don't think it was meant.
No.
Maybe a blackberry
Okay.
in season.
Yeah. Our cows love to
They
eat
do.
the blackberry bushes.
Yeah, maybe wild raspberries
Okay.
in season.
Yeah.
They probably think that's delicious.
I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
They do like the leaves.
Yeah. I don't know about Kool-Aid
Mm-mm.
mix. No, my goodness. Okay. No, they're not. That is not an appropriate diet to me. To me, I do not think that's an appropriate diet for a cow.
Mm. So I thought that would be a good primer
Mm.
for our discussion of
What we do
how we do things on our farm.
and why we do it. Because, yeah, let's go there.
All right.
Yeah. Wow, that's a luncheon.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
So,
yeah.
what you guys may not know is I
We BS a lot.
no, is that in prepping for these, I will sometimes give Shelley a little bit of a hint of what we're talking about. And so this morning I said, "Hey, do you know cows eat candy?" And she said, "What?" And I said, "That's it. I won't tell you anything else."
About lost it.
And so I enjoy it because I love watching her reactions to some of these things, and I think it's awesome that you get to see it too. So,
aren't you
so
cute?
there's some impromptu here with this
huge.
about what we're doing. So
The Skittles.
yeah,
That you saved that one. That was good.
yeah, okay.
I enjoy it.
Why grass only is our first topic of discussion. Why do we feed our cows grass? And man, did we learn a lot over the past few days? If you've never done anything like this, there's a lot of introspection that's required. If, in my opinion, if you want to do it correctly, if you don't want to just start spouting
Are you
off
talking about podcasting?
podcasting
Okay.
in general, if
Yeah.
you don't want to just start spouting off your opinions based on nothing,
Yeah.
then it takes a bit of introspection and study. And why do we think this, and why do
Right.
we believe this, and why are we doing this?
It's hard.
If we're going to talk to you about what we're doing, the like the feeling, the ness behind it is why.
Yeah.
Anybody can talk about we feed our cows grass, but what I wanted to get to that we could share today is why.
Right.
Why are we doing this? And I was shaken
Yeah.
a bit at my foundation on this
I know.
about the whole
I know where you're going.
grass fed and such.
Yeah.
But so
Because Go ahead.
why do we do grass only? It started, if you remember, when we ordered our first whole beef. It was a grass only operation, and it was a Devon cow. We found out later after we said, "This is amazing. I've never tasted beef like this. What is it?"
Yeah.
It's a Devon.
Yeah.
And it was grass only, and we were moving into a carnivore diet where we were eating meat only. And so the amount of nutrition, you have to squeeze every ounce of nutrition that you can out of the meat product that you're eating, because you're not getting some of the other things that you might get. And so the idea that there's more omega-3 fatty acids in grass-fed beef than grain-fed, that was important to us, because we were transitioning to a meat-only diet, and that's
animal-only diet.
Yeah, sorry, carnivore. Whatever. Right, we did have some dairy, but the idea that you need to get as much nutrition as you can out of the products that you're eating was important to us. And so we chose to go with grass-fed when we purchased our beef. And it was so good to us that I think in the back of our mind, that just became it.
Yeah.
When we started talking about doing the farming thing and the idea that we could produce food for ourselves based on purchasing that beef,
I think the comment was we could just do this
we can
ourselves.
do this ourselves, right? And so when we made the choice to do that for ourselves, and then transitioned that into maybe we could do it for other people as well.
Yeah.
The idea was already there. It was like a decision that had already been made. We didn't really sit down with the calculator and the cost of hay versus grain.
No.
And we didn't do that. It was just we're doing grass only.
Yeah. It was purely based on experience.
Yeah. And then the more we learned and we got into the concept of regenerative farming
Yeah.
and the making the soil better and making the land better, like it sort of built on itself from there. But
Mm-hmm.
I think the why from all the way down to the foundation of why did we particularly specifically do grass,
Mm-hmm.
that decision was made before we ever got into farming.
Yeah, you're right.
Do you see anything any different?
No,
Okay.
no, you're right. No, I completely agree. And but in that there might have been some misconceptions on our part based on some of the numbers that you were looking at this morning as far as the health benefits. I don't know that they were as significant. I don't know that they are as significant as we thought them to be back then.
Yeah.
The numbers aren't as high. You can state a statistic in a way that it sounds like it's significant. But if you really start looking at the minutia of the numbers, it becomes insignificant.
Yeah.
So then it kind of rocked me this morning when you were giving me the data, and I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
Because if you say it increases it by 50%,
Cool.
well, that's great.
Yeah.
You know, there's 50% more, or whatever the number is, there's 50% more omega-3 fatty acids in grass-fed beef versus grain-fed beef. That's awesome. But what is the number really?
We're going to get to that in our misconceptions talk.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Because we're going to have to dial this why in a little bit.
Yeah. But that from the foundation, that's why. That's why we started there.
Yep.
Now, as we have gotten more into regenerative farming, as we've gotten the animals and learning animal husbandry and dealing with the animals, it has become very important to us that the animals live in their natural habitat.
Yeah, a cow lives in a field.
Yeah. So for us, flippantly last week I said cows eat grass because in my mind that's what happens.
Yeah.
Cows are out on a pasture and cows eat grass, and that's it. That's all.
Yeah.
In my mind, right? I understand there's 80% of the market is not that.
Yeah. The majority of the industry is very different than that.
Right. But in my mind, that's what it is. And so for us, as we're doing it, that's the way we believe it should be done, is they eat grass.
Yeah. They live in a pasture.
They live in a pasture. They eat grass. They be cows.
Yeah. The way they were intended.
Yeah. And
for how long?
Well,
their whole life?
To us, yes. Until their one bad day. And that's not the day that they get loaded onto a semi-truck to go to their CAFO.
Right.
Confined animal feeding operation, where they're packed in with thousands of other animals and fed
feedlot.
Skittles and chocolate and Kool-Aid. They live on the pasture and they eat grass, hay in the wintertime, and grass in the spring and summertime. You know, that's how we see cattle.
Agree.
So why grass on our farm? That's really it.
Because that's the way what they're supposed to eat.
Yeah, and then from our farmer's perspective, there's a synergy between the cows and the pasture.
Yep.
Right, like the cows being on the pasture improves the pasture. The more time that we are rotating our cows and sheep, but today's talk is cows. The more time we're rotating the cows through the pasture, the better the pastures get.
In case you didn't know, they poop a lot.
They do, and they pee a lot.
And they pee a lot.
And there's a lot of nutrients in both.
Yeah.
And
biology.
Yeah. And so the soil is becoming more alive. There are more worms in the soil, which helps aerate the soil. They're mashing carbon down into the soil as they step on the grasses. They're eating it, removing it. They're peeing and pooping on it. They're fertilizing it. Like this whole rotational grazing concept is making the pastures better. Yes. Which means that they can support the cows better. The cows make the pastures better. The pastures support the cows better.
Right.
Right. So like it's a major part of what we're doing on the farm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's next?
I don't know.
From an ecological perspective, What are the ecological benefits? We sort of talked
Yeah,
about
you just
that,
talked
and
about that.
but the other side of that is like the other way cows are finished out puts them in a feedlot, and in my mind, I mean, I did waste treatment at the beginning of my very beginning of my career after university. I did waste treatment, and we were doing waste treatment for large confined animal operations,
Yes.
dairies,
Dairies.
hogs,
Yeah. And hogs.
and there is a lot of waste, true waste, and it is quite toxic.
Mm-hmm.
Just from do the tests.
Yeah.
There's a lot there,
Yeah.
and so the idea that you're taking those animals and jamming them in on top of each other, and then they create what we just described as fertilizer and nutrients. In that setting, they create waste.
Right.
And um, without going into the whole environmentalist thing,
No.
there is a lot of waste
A lot.
from the confined animal feeding operations. A
Okay.
lot of it.
Yeah.
And with the same thing that we say is nutrients for our
Yeah.
soil.
Well, it's all about dosing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Cool. Well, ecologically, they're very beneficial to our property
Mm-hmm.
and to the other animals who kind of sometimes can come behind them, and it makes it better for everybody.
Yeah.
It also helps to sequester carbon as the roots root systems get better on the grasses. The better the root system, the better the grass, the more CO2 is pulled down in, which,
That's right.
Not to get into the environmentalist stuff, but we've got a little too much carbon in the air and it belongs in the ground. And one of the ways to get it back in the ground is to create grasslands to pull it back into the soil where it belongs. So it helps with that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. So
Okay.
the benefits of a grass-only diet. So we raise Devon cattle, as we mentioned earlier. They are a heritage breed, and they, from the beginning, survived on grass. And that was an important thing for us, as we talked about, was that we find a breed that can do well, live and thrive on grass only. So,
Yeah. If you're considering getting cows and you're considering starting an operation of any sort to create and grow beef, definitely get the breed that fits the model of farming that you intend on doing.
Yeah.
If you want to have a grass only operation, research the breeds that can do grass best.
Yeah. And like one thing quickly is to look at is they have big, huge barrel bellies with shorter legs. Belly ends up dragging closer to
They
the ground.
all look like they're pregnant.
Yeah. Big. I mentioned the
barrels.
fermentation vats.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're not getting all of the extra calories from the grains.
Mm-hmm.
Their bodies are set up so that they can just stuff more in.
Yeah.
They hold more.
And shorter legs. They look kind of
Yeah.
a little squatty compared to,
some
the
of the
taller,
some of
lankier
the
cows.
longer
Leg cows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That may pack on the pounds quickly with a grain type feed.
Yeah.
These are a slower grow and are able to pack on pounds with grass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So think it's important.
Breed matters
to do the breed. Yeah. So we mentioned the health benefits and some of the surprising things that we found from a health benefit perspective. And I mentioned the reason we decided to go grass only. Just take the omega-3 fatty acids. So most all studies will show that grass-fed beef is higher in antioxidants, higher in omega-3s, higher in omega-6s. The omega-3 to 6 ratios are better. Like there are health benefits to grass-fed beef.
Yes.
As I started digging into it, I was surprised at what the numbers actually say.
Yeah.
So the claim is true there are health benefits.
Mm-hmm.
The actuals are not necessarily a big deal. So the omega-3, take omega-3 for example. You a typical, median aged adult male needs 1.5 grams of omega-3 per day. Standard recommended daily, whatever, blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
A gram and a half
Mm-hmm.
is what you're supposed to get
Mm-hmm.
from an omega-3 perspective.
Mm-hmm.
In 3 ounces
Yeah.
of, so just under a quarter of a pound
Mm-hmm.
of grass-fed beef,
Mm-hmm.
there is 0.015 grams of omega-3 fatty acids.
That's not much.
And in grain-fed, it's 0.003.
Oh, well, that's significantly more
It is significantly more.
with the two compared. Yeah,
That's
just
right.
comparing the two. Mm-hmm.
It is significantly more in grass-fed than it is in grain-fed.
So you can make quite a statement there on your percentages.
You can. Mm-hmm. You can absolutely say grass-fed is better.
Mm-hmm.
You can even multiply it out and say whatever percentage better it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you do the multiplication, which I did, and take it to, okay, so how much grass-fed beef would I have to eat? And this is ground beef.
Yeah.
For me, how much grass-fed ground beef would I have to eat to get to my recommended daily omega-3 of 1.5 grams? And by the way, that's like a raisin and a half.
Oh,
okay.
Okay.
All right. So
a raisin and a half.
Yeah. So how much ground beef grass-fed would I have to eat? And the answer is just under 19 pounds
a day.
19
but that pounds a day of beef.
That is better than what it would take for me to get my recommended daily allowance from a grain-fed perspective at just under 94 pounds a day.
A day.
Right. So to say that it's better is true.
To say that it's worth even talking about,
I don't know.
I don't know.
Because I can't eat 19 or 94 pounds of ground beef in a day.
You could eat a raisin and a half.
The other way I could get my 1.5 grams of omega-3 fatty acids is from 2 ounces of walnuts.
Yeah, that's a better choice.
Or 94 pounds of grain-fed ground beef.
Yeah.
So I was really, really ready to talk about the health benefits.
That's right.
And
why are we doing it?
Why are we doing
jump
this?
Jump up on your health stump.
Yeah. And not like to pound, but to bring people with me. Come on, it's better.
Yes,
it's better for you.
Yes,
and it is.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know if omega-3s are where you want to have. Where you want to stand on that.
Man,
I'm gonna be your stump.
I was disappointed.
Yeah, that is disappointing. Okay, so then why? If it's not health. In terms of omega-3s that have been touted so much to be, such a difference between the two, then we have to come up with a.
Again, I will say, there is a big difference.
I know, but the overall significance of the human diet, it's minutia.
Insignificant.
Very insignificant. So then we have to come up with a why.
Yeah.
Why are you out? Why do you have what you have? Why do we grow in the way we're growing it? We could put them in a square and give them Kool-Aid. It would be easier, maybe. We're taking risk. We're working hard to grow good food.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So then
I think it goes
wise.
I think it goes back to what we were talking about before. And what you guys are seeing is us struggling through. We've talked through this for a minute. But us really struggling through the what happens when something that you believe isn't necessarily true.
Yeah.
And so that's why I keep saying it is better. Like we weren't false in our belief that it is better. I think the false belief was that it mattered.
Well, I think that, I don't know if it's in the notes, but to get into the marketing illusion.
No, we can skip there. It is in the notes. And on this one, I will go to some of the
Yeah.
some of
I
the
act
articles.
like I didn't read these notes. I did, but it was a very short time ago.
Yeah.
It
So
wasn't for long.
this one, what I printed out here is beef. It's what's for dinner, and what they were. What the article is decoding the label "Know Your Beef" choices.
Oh, right.
And so the four different things from a USDA perspective that you can put on a label.
Grass. Oh, yeah, I
You can
see.
put on grain finished,
Mm-hmm.
grass finished, or grass fed.
Yep.
And I can get into the differences there. Certified organic and naturally raised.
Mm-hmm.
And naturally raised is sometimes referred to as never ever. So those
Never
are
ever any antibiotics or hormones added.
correct. And so the difference, grain finished, they still eat the majority of their lives grass.
Yeah.
Right.
Living
So
in a pasture,
a
somebody's
calf
farm.
is born, it drinks milk.
Yep.
And then as it transitions off of milk, it eats grass with its mom on the pasture until it reaches whatever size that cow-calf operation is going to sell it, typically 500 pounds or so. And then off it goes.
Off it goes.
Right.
On a truck
So
to a CAFO, to a feedlot.
They definitely want you to know that they spend the majority of their lives eating grass or forage, and then they spend 4 to 6 months at a feed yard eating a balanced diet of grain, local feed ingredients, potato hulls, sugar beets, hay, forage, Skittles, chocolate, Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Right. No, they didn't actually say that. Grass finished or grass fed. So they did away with the grass fed a few years ago because the concept that we just talked about, all cows eat grass.
Yeah.
So the idea that it's grass fed really was a misnomer and potentially misleading. So they transitioned it to a grass finished, meaning that last 4 to 6 months.
It did not go to the CAFO.
No, that does not mean that. That's what shocked me. The nutrition things surprised me. I may have said shocked earlier. It surprised me. This one is what shocked me the most about grass-fed beef, grass-finished now. Grass-finished beef comes from cattle that spend the majority of their lives eating grass or forage. They may also eat grass, forage, hay, or silage at a feed yard. So the grass-fed, what you're buying in the store, if you go to the store and you buy grass-finished, grass-fed, whatever the label says.
Well, they have the pictures on the labels of them in the pasture eating grass in the pasture like ours do.
They were in the pasture eating grass.
Until they went to a CAFO.
Until they went to a CAFO.
Where they were given grass products instead of Kool-Aid.
That depends on the study that you look at. I saw both. If you look at the USDA sites, they say that it has to be a grass product. Some of the independent studies that I researched said that they can contain some of the sugar, the candies and such as a way
probably up to a certain percentage.
Right, as a way to get calories.
Yeah.
The thing about the grass now, that the grass-fed beef that is being fed in a feedlot or a CAFO is corn is grass. And until the corn becomes a grain, you can chop it up and it's grass. And the transition from grass to grain happens with a percentage of moisture that's in the kernel. And so it can be a corn kernel even and be still considered grass.
A grass. Illusions.
Yeah.
A lot of illusions.
And, so let me finish. So certified organic, it means that they've never received any antibiotics, growth hormones, and they can be either grain or grass finished as long as the USDA Agricultural Marketing Service, AMS, which is another thing that I learned about, certifies the feed that they've been eating is 100% organically grown. So I suppose if the chocolate is organic, then they can eat the chocolate. It doesn't say that. The other one is naturally raised, and this is beef that comes from cattle that have never had any antibiotics or growth promoting hormones. They may be either grain or grass finished and at a feed yard. So the shocking thing to me was grain finished, grass finished, certified organic, naturally raised, all at a feed yard.
Consolidated.
CAFO. I had this image because for me, when I say grass fed and we talk about what we do on our farm, that's cows out there on the pasture.
Yeah.
And so when we would go to the store when we didn't have beef from another farmer and before we started raising our own beef,
grocery store meat,
we would buy grass fed or grass finished, whatever it said.
Yeah.
Like you said, the label on has a little cow standing in the grass.
Yeah.
And my assumption, false, was that this whatever I was eating was out there his whole life on the grass. And that's not true. That's not what the label means at all. It means that in the same CAFO, it's just fed something different.
Still,
and so you get you get potentially, depending on how much of the not corn they eat and such, you can still get the minimal health benefits.
Yeah.
Maybe, but they're still standing in a feedlot.
And so
I'm like,
it gets to there. It gets to there for us. Then it gets to the ethics and the humanely raised, and where the cow's spending their life. Not. I mean, okay, fine. There are some health benefits for the humans, but what are the health benefits to the cow itself to live its life out on the pasture versus in the last 5 months of its life in a CAFO? So, I did not used to care where they were raised. I didn't. I was a person. I had a family. We had a family to feed. We had a lot of kids to feed. I went to the grocery store. We got meat. We got chicken. We got all of the things, hot dogs, whatever. We just had to feed people.
Yeah.
And with a grocery budget, and so we got meat, whatever they offered. And I didn't care to see so many people we know in the cattle industry or, as farmers. And I didn't care when cows would pass us on the highway, there they went, or if chickens were passing us on the highway, there they went, to the processor or to the feedlot or wherever they were headed. It didn't bother me, but the concept or the thought of an animal leaving my farm and going to a confined, or is that what the C stands for? Confined or is it concentrated? To a concentrated feed operation. We have cows standing out there right now that we considered selling because the beef prices are so high. Take them to the market, sell them. We could have paid for all that hay out there. And then the more I thought about it, I'm like, it doesn't match. It doesn't fit. It's incongruent with how I feel about where the animals are going, where they're spending their life, how they're being raised, and then what they're becoming. And so we just chose not to. We'll hold on to them and we'll feed them grass, and then we will get them processed when they're ready. We just have to wait.
Yeah.
We just have to wait.
Right.
And having one of our kids, decided to be a vegan for years, and her health suffered horribly because she didn't eat meat. Well, she did. It wasn't because she didn't like meat, because the flavor of meat is good. She really had a problem with the way the animals were treated. And so, come to find out after talking to her, so many vegans feel that way. They don't want to eat the meat because they don't agree with how the meat is being raised in these feedlots.
Yep.
And so they just don't eat it. So there's an entire population of people out there that refuse to eat it. And so their health, their mental health and their physical health suffers because of the way the meat's raised.
So where did it leave us? As we were going through this and having our own sort of turmoil and struggle, and then to thinking through where do we end the podcast? Where do we leave folks with? Last time I talked about the hope for the small farmer. On this particular topic, I think the hope is the small farmer. That's the hope. If you're relying on a bullshit government label to tell you where your products came from, you are going to be disappointed.
Yes.
If you want to know that your beef was fed grass, buy it from a local farmer, go to the farm, see what they're doing.
Yeah. And that's a policy here. Our farm's open. If I'm going to grow your food, I feel like you should be able to come and see where it's being grown and what it's being fed.
That's right.
Open door policy. Transparent as we can make it.
Give you a farm tour.
I'll give you a farm tour.
Yeah. So that to me is the hope on this one. It is not the government. It is not the agricultural marketing service.
No.
It's not the FDA. It's not the USDA. It's not the bullshit labels.
Right.
It is truly know your local farmer. Go meet them. Go visit the farm.
Yeah.
See how they're growing the animals.
Yeah.
And if you don't like the way that they're growing their
find
animals,
another one.
Go find another local farmer.
Something that fits what you're looking for.
That's right.
For you and your family.
Yeah. So that's the hope in this is there are local farmers and you can go find.
Yeah. And where it left us, when we were talking about it, it left me with, because we want to.
Yeah.
Because that's what we want to do.
That's right.
And everybody should do that too. I'm not against grain. Our chickens eat grain. Our pigs eat grain. Our dairy cows, they eat grain because it helps them produce their milk, their jerseys, their genetics kind of dictate that they need some added to their diet in order to keep them healthy. But our beef cows don't. We chose a breed that can survive really well without it. So I'm not against grain. If you got cows and you want to feed them grain, please, by all means, feed them grain. But jamming thousands into a very small space and feeding them whatever you can get your hands on that adds calories, that hurts my soul. It really does. Yeah. Anyway. Y'all get to see us thinking. Like, why do we do what we do? Well, we want good food and we want to know where it comes from. So we'll grow it. And we want you to know where yours comes from too. So find somebody and go see how they grow it.
Yeah.
Or come here and I'll show you how we grow it.
And that was how we ended our conversation before we started the podcast is we're growing our beef the way we want beef grown. That's it. That's it. And all of the other reasons that I was preparing to throw out are some valid, some not, and really
they didn't hold up much.
Don't matter a whole lot.
Mm-mm.
This is how we want to do it.
Yep. Yeah.
And if you like it, come buy some beef. And if you don't like it, go find somebody else that you like the way they're doing it.
Right.
Right?
Yes, absolutely.
And that's the cool thing about a free market economy, right? Is that you
get to choose.
You get to choose where you buy your product.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good. This was great. Good topic.
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
It was supposed to be easy. Cows eat grass.
I know. Cows eat grass. Right? Oh, yeah. That's right.
I wasn't planning on having deep thoughts about what we're doing and why.
Well, I think that's just the nature of the beast. Whenever you are trying to do something for yourself and somebody else, the reason that we're doing it is because the offerings were not suitable.
Yeah. We didn't like it. At least.
We didn't like it. Yeah, not for us. And as it turns out, not for a lot of other people. Because they like the beef and the pork and the chicken.
Yeah.
And the eggs. More eggs coming, y'all.
Turns out. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. So what are we going to talk about next week?
Next week, we are going to talk about pace of life. We're going to talk about dirt roads.
Oh, dirt roads. Well, that sort of makes it sound like we're not busy.
Yeah.
I mean, you're retired. We just kick back all the time.
The slow pace.
The slow pace of farming?
Of life in the Ozarks.
I know, but it might be an oxymoron in the end. It's kind of like cows eat grass. I don't know. It may turn out different.
I can't imagine how this is going to turn out.
Me either. Me either. Oh my goodness. No, that's good. Yeah, it is a slower pace, at least in the car.
Well, yeah, the idea
The
was
roads.
that it's not the rat race,
No, it's not.
and
It really
it's
isn't.
different than the big city life
It really is.
that we've led in the past.
Yeah.
At times. I mean, we haven't always been in a big city, but at times we've been in huge cities. And so the thought process behind it was let's delve a bit into that.
I like it.
I can't imagine where it's going to
I
end
can't
up.
either. I don't know. Well, we'll see, you guys.
Right?
Oh man. Well, thank you guys for listening again, and for the comments. If you like it, make sure you subscribe, follow, and like and comment. If we've said something that really makes you think, or you question, or you just think we're just plumb wrong, that's cool too. Let us know.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, we may be.
Well, we do what we do.
Right.
Yeah, but as of right now, we have a calf that wants to be with her mom.
Oh, that's true.
I think actually it's a him.
Yes, it is.
It is. It is. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with us. And until next week.
Okay.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.